Good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon, 12:45 here on Wednesday, November 5th. Welcome back to our live stream today. We got a bunch of stuff. We didn't make it last weekend, and I apologize for that. It was kind of a busy weekend with kids' soccer and everything else we got going on. But we will talk about the government shutdown. We're going to talk about Venezuela, and then hopefully, with any luck, let me check here. Nope, not yet. It's gonna. We are going to preview a video here that I got coming up. So, well, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, I had one link that just didn't work for whatever reason, so I apologize. But we're going to talk about the government shutdown. Yes. Nope, not that button. Sorry about that. That button. All right. When it comes up here, screen and video. What is going on? My apologies, guys, here. Okay, there we go. That is the correct one, and I apologize for that. That's not. So we're going to talk about government shutdown to begin with here. Yes, the web page I was going to show you here that just decided to not load for whatever reason. I don't know. Was talking about SNAP benefits, right? Food stamps, welfare, all that stuff is basically done right now. There is no more. There's no funding for it. No one can get food. So basically, you look at a bunch of the different programs like food banks and stuff are just really getting overwhelmed with people right now because they can't get their food. You also see video. Oh yeah, that'd be a good video. Let me see if I can find it, where basically people are stealing food and they're just claiming, well, I have to, because the government shut down. So it's pretty incredible, just the amount of. I mean, it's really sad, right? Because people need that food, but at the same time, it's like, come on, guys, like we need to figure this out. You also need to not steal food, right? So let's see here. What's a good one? All right, this is someone else's video, so I apologize.
They ain't playing this shutdown. They ain't playing.
So as you can see, last night in some places in high crime areas, what did you think was going to happen? Y'all sat online for over a week threatening to rob these places, to kill the employees, to hurt the employees, and to take whatever you want. So naturally, some of these places are taking.
There we go. Okay. I got to click a button here real quick because my capture device decided to think it's copyrighted, which it might be. But 1 second, guys. I apologize. Get my handy dandy tool here to fix this. But if you guys have seen this in your community, please let me know. Please put in the comments if you have seen it. That would be really unfortunate. Oh, yes, it is working. It's just my video stopped. Sorry about that. All right. So, I mean, I just want to see the videos. I don't want to see this guy talking. I'm sure he did a good job, Cinema Shogun. But like, here we go. These are some good ones. See if we can play this.
Why abandon it? Just take it. If you're gonna go that far, just take it.
Instead, let's roll this clip, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
This is pretty good.
I love it when people steal in Ocala. That's my favorite thing in the world. Why abandon it? Just take it. If you're gonna go that far, just take it.
Yeah. See, there we go. It's stuff like this that's happening all the time. I don't know if he has any other videos, but thank you, Cinema Shogun, for the videos there. But it's pretty incredible. People are just getting so brazen about it, and it's really unfortunate. But the other part of this is that we've set a record now, 35 days or 36 days, I think, as of yesterday, one of the two, that of a record for a shutdown. And if you look at the surface, right? If you look at the surface of the news, it looks like there's no end in sight, right? It looks, compared to like what had happened, when this whole thing first started 36 days ago. At least they were talking. They were trying to vote. They were trying to get everything. No, I did that already. Stop it. Oh man, I hate U.S. News for this. But they at least were making efforts to move forward, to at least try and vote, but now it looks like there's nothing. There's no talks back and forth. There actually is. So there's two efforts going on right now, at least that I am aware of. So we got that basically President Trump saying that we should get rid of the filibuster, which is a whole nother topic. We'll talk about that separately, right? But move forward to at least try. We also have that they're actually in the background working out, and that what I've heard, and I couldn't find the news article where I read it or saw about it, is basically the solution that they are trying to float with Democrats right now is that if they vote for a CRA, like the House approved, but then there's also a separate vote for the Medicaid or the Obamacare subsidies. And so that way they're separated, which is how it should be. But we'll see if that actually goes through. I just heard rumor of that. I haven't heard anything about that since. I heard they did vote again today, and it didn't happen. So basically what and I could be wrong. And if you guys are seeing this and you guys know more about this, if you're watching this, but basically how I understand it, right, is they bring a bill to the floor, and in order to get it to be able to be officially voted on, they have to get 60 votes to be able to vote on the actual bill, right? So, and I forget what they call it, but they need 60 votes to be able to vote on the bill. And that's the filibuster rule. Basically, it prevents the ruling party, if you want to call it that way, the majority party, from just passing anything and everything. Well, so they haven't been able to get the 60 votes. The Democrats won't vote for the ability to vote on the bill because they know if they do, then it's going to pass and they're not going to get what they want. So that's the problem. Now, what President Trump has suggested is they get rid of the filibuster, which is that 60 vote rule to bring something to the floor. Now, that's really there to protect the minority from letting the majority vote in anything and everything they want. So there's advantages and disadvantages to that on both sides, but I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. It's just frustrating that they're using it as a weapon, the Democrats in this instance, right? Because it can protect both sides depending on who's in charge and in the majority in the part, in the houses. So I don't know. I don't have a feeling left or right about it. I think we should keep it, if anything, and then just pass a budget, right? Pass a budget. So the other part of this is air traffic. I have a number of friends who are airline pilots, and so they have basically said that this is starting to become an issue with air traffic control. And we talked to this NPR article, even though they are very shortly funded now, thanks to President Trump. Good job. Air traffic controllers warn of a tipping point as the U.S. government shutdown drags on. And so basically the problem with this is that the FAA, the controllers that control all of our planes that fly in the U.S. are all government civilians. They're all paid for by the U.S. federal government. But so we still need them, but they're not getting paid. So, and they're already one of the most stressful occupations in the world is air traffic controllers. And now they're having to work for free. They'll get paid back eventually when a budget is passed, but they're not getting paid. They can't pay their mortgages. They can't buy their food. Now, there's programs that are out there to help, and I'm thankful for that. But it doesn't make the stress of their job any easier. It can only make it worse if anything else is possible. Now, what a lot of them are doing or have done is they call in sick, right? You can't stop someone from calling in sick, if they have the sick hours to do it, right? So they're calling in sick, staying home. Well, that just adds more stress to the ones that are there. And so what they're ending up having to do is like shift air traffic control centers to other ones who are staffed, because they don't have to be co-located. Like LA Center that runs the Los Angeles or Southern California area doesn't have to be in Los Angeles. It happens to be down here near Palmdale, California, but it can be, in New York because it's all interconnected via the internet. So anywho, that is a big deal. So I wanted to talk about that and briefly mention that's a problem. But the other two topics I wanted to touch on today and bring to your attention if you haven't been watching this, because this is going to be interesting to see, is President Trump wants to restart nuclear testing. Yes. So if you weren't aware, we haven't done any nuclear testing in a long time. I want to say since 1993. Where was it in here? It talked about it. 1992. Close. Now, we haven't done above ground nuclear tests since the 1960s, right? When we've seen all those videos from, I believe it's Nevada and then out on in the Pacific Islands. I think that was a little bit farther away, but still, we haven't done it in a long time. But do you know that like other countries actually still do this and we don't? And so that's I think where President Trump is getting at. It's like, hey, why are we not doing this? Other countries are doing this, and it's not necessarily because we need to. We know how these bombs work and how they're going to perform. So it's not like a need necessarily, because they're all stockpiled and they're just waiting to hopefully never get used. It's more of a showing of a power scenario type of thing. And so basically he's kind of said that he didn't say what it looks like or what they're, going to do exactly yet. But he definitely said that. So that could be very interesting. Now, the bad thing about this, the one thing that we need to be careful of is this. Putin tells officials to submit plans for possibly resuming nuclear tests after Trump's remarks. That's a problem, right? And so I wouldn't doubt if they actually still do it, if they actually still do nuclear testing, to be completely honest. And this is all just a show as well. I mean, who knows? We may do it too. I don't know. But this is definitely a show from, Putin now, because Putin can't be, sitting back and chilling and just letting things happen, right? He's got to perform and show he's the boss and, and act all big and strong, even though he's not. But, whatever, we know that. And so this is going to start or has the potential to start a whole Cold War scenario all over again, just like we saw in the late 1900s. So just be careful about this. We need to watch for this and watch for, who else is going to respond to that. But the last big topic that I definitely wanted to touch on today was the Venezuela war. We talk about it almost every time in this live stream, and because it's a big deal, right? This doesn't happen every day, and it's not it's a big deal. So we've struck another boat, another boat. Now I don't know if I have the video here. Let's see. Trump strikes drug boat. Let's see if there's another one. Updated 1 day ago. Okay, cool. Let's watch this.
The U.S. military carried out another lethal airstrike against alleged drug smuggling boats in the Caribbean just over the weekend.
You can't really see a whole lot.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said a U.S. designated terrorist group was operating the vessel, but didn't name the group.
Interesting.
3 people were killed in that strike. The Trump administration justified the attacks as a necessary escalation to stop the flow of drugs into the U.S.
Yeah.
But lawmakers...
Yeah, I agree. And I think lawmakers are just trying to disagree because they want to, we'll get to that in a second. Where were we? Okay. So here's this was an interesting article. I wanted to talk about the timeline here. And so of how these attacks started and how they're going, because it kind of helps picture a lot of different things. So let's see here. So September 2nd, first strike, right? That's 2 months ago now. And he announced they conducted a strike, blah, 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 against Tren de Aragua. And then it was a whole almost 2 weeks until September 15th when they carried out the second strike. And then September 19th, October 3rd, October 14th, October 16th, October 17th, the 21st, the 22nd, 24th, 27th, 29th, November 1st, and November 4th. So it's picked up quite a bit in the last few weeks, right? And I think a good explanation for that is that, at least according to what they're saying, right, is they're doing this based on intel that they're getting from whatever sources. I'm not sure, but they're getting intel, and that's how they're proving that this is Tren de Aragua on these boats. Well, excuse me. The more they do this, the more intel they get, the more they can strike. And so I think that's kind of what we're seeing, is that it's just taking time for them to build up their intel, and then they can start striking more and more and more and more. Right? Now, the problem, or what you may be asking, right, is, well, it seems like this is escalating, right? Well, you're completely right. Completely right. So basically, that's why I got this next article. Venezuela war fears stoked as Russia risks Trump's wrath. So this is more with Russia and hypersonic missiles and giving them to Venezuela. But as we start to ramp up with Venezuela, and we already have the stuff going on with Russia, like now this nuclear stuff we talked about. This we saw this happen in we've seen this happen all throughout history in Afghanistan, and with them before we even got involved. We saw this in all sorts of other countries where we want to help, so the opposing country like Russia, China, they feel like they have to help, so they go and do the opposite, and it's this back and forth of trying to help each other. And so we don't want Russia to help Venezuela at all. Now, with that being said, no, I just want to read this article. Here's the deal. We're afraid of war with Venezuela, right? We've talked about that before. We don't want war with Venezuela. We could take it out easy, not a big deal. That's not the question. Venezuela would be an easy target for the United States military. But it just causes a lot of problems. We don't want to get involved, especially when Trump ran on a position of trying to keep everyone home and not create wars outside of the US. And so basically here he's saying, and in another article I'll show you in a second, that the war is unlikely. He's unlikely to actually go to war. But he mentions one thing that's really funny is that he's hinted, and not in this article too, is that Maduro's time is up. And I don't know what that means. Does that mean that it could mean that he's just trying to say well, the Venezuelans don't like Maduro anymore, and so he's going to get voted out? I don't know. Well, that's not going to happen because their elections are rigged anyways from Maduro, who, if you haven't watched previous live streams, is a definite drug trafficker, part of drug gangs and everything else. And now he is reformed into the president of Venezuela, right? Which is total BS. But I think the other two options that are kind of scary is that he's going to use some sort of President Trump is going to use some sort of covert mission to take out Maduro. That's never happened before. We've never done that as the U.S., right? Or just a full out war with them where we have to take them out and then rebuild the country, which has always a politically charged viewpoint, right? So I don't know. I don't think war is likely, but even then later, President Trump said he highly doubts that the U.S. is going to go to war with Venezuela, right? It's just not worth it for us, because it would, it's a touchy subject, right? Because I think we all know and have had people, friends, family who have drug issues, right? I have a, it's not an immediate family member or anything, but we have a family member who has had drug addiction issues for, I don't even remember how long, 10, 15 years or so. And would I want to do something possibly to help him? Sure. But do I want to send my friends, if my kids join the military, do I want to send them to war, possibly die to stop the drug trade? I don't know. That's a tough question, right? Because I think it is a noble effort, but I don't know. It's a tough question, and you got to think about that for yourselves and talk to your congressman about that. And so that's what I'd suggest really here is, you in order to make a good, have a good viewpoint on things, right? In order to understand what is going on and be able to make a educated statement about it, you really have to do your own research, right? And so one story or one place that I've looked at or gone to in the past that is actually really good at finding this, and I am not sponsored with them yet, hoping to be, but is Ground News. I don't know if you guys have seen Ground News. I was just looking here, pull it up. They're a great source for getting a variety of news. So I highly recommend at least taking a look at it. Yes, you do have to pay and everything. I just want to go to the page so I can show you. So this is a great example where you can see hey, this article is only slightly on the right, more on the left, middle, a lot of center. And then it'll tell you on every story which side or who is reporting on it, if they're good, like this here. This is a blind spot here for the left where it says Squad with spark, Mondami is the fire. You know, I don't even know what that's about, but you can tell it's you know, the left is not reporting on that at all. So great site, highly recommend checking them out. Not sponsored yet, we'll see. So as always, I just want you guys to always try and be prepared, you know, with everything that you guys do. Try and have, you know, stockpiles of stuff as much as you can, at least. And so this week let me pause this here. It's going to start playing a video. I'm going to play you guys this week's video as a preview here. So we want you guys to be prepared in everything, right? And have backup options for backup options. And so, yes, so if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get access to these videos. We do have memberships now where you get a lot of these videos ahead of time. And so if you're interested in doing that and being a part of the community where you can join and talk with me directly and other people in the community, if you're looking for topics about like prepping and food preservation, all sorts of stuff, we're going to have all of that stuff in there. And so if you're interested, please consider joining for that. And we'll get a Patreon at some point. So I truly appreciate it, guys. Thank you. So we are going to, where are we at here? Video preview. So we're going to go through our video for this week. Oh, let me change this real quick. So this video this week is pretty cool. I really enjoyed it and I learned a lot about it today. It is about having a pharmacy, a prepper pharmacy, you know, which is basically medicine from plants that you can grow in your garden or probably already are growing accidentally because a lot of them are weeds. So super interesting video for sure. So here I'll give you guys a preview. If you do guys join the membership, you'll get them, you know, basically earlier in the week. But for now, here is the video, and I'll be back with you guys in a bit. When the pharmacies are closed and the supply chain is broken, the solution isn't in a factory hundreds of miles away. It might be growing right outside your door. Today we're going to build the ultimate prepper's medicine cabinet using 10 powerful plants that you can grow yourself. This is true medical self-reliance. Welcome back to the farm. Before we dive in, I have to give a critical disclaimer. I am not a doctor or a certified herbalist for that matter. This video is for informational purposes only, based on historical and traditional use of these plants. You must do your own thorough research and consult with a professional before using any plant for medicinal purposes. With that said, for thousands of years, humanity relied on the power of plants for healing. Relearning these skills is one of the most empowering things a homesteader or prepper can do. It's about creating a sustainable, resilient system for your family's health. Today we're going to cover 10 essential plants for your medicinal garden, what they do, how to grow them, and how to prepare them. So let's get started. First up is yarrow. I don't know how you pronounce it exactly, but it's yarrow. Also known as nature's bandage. Its most famous traditional use is for stopping bleeding. The leaves can be crushed into a poultice and applied directly to a wound. It's also a diaphoretic, meaning it can help induce sweating to break a fever when taken as a hot tea. It's a hardy perennial, easy to grow from seed in full sun and doesn't need much water. A true survivalist plant. You've probably seen this in the cold and flu aisle. Echinacea is renowned for its immune-boosting properties. Tinctures or teas made from the root and flower heads are often taken at the first sign of a cold to help reduce its severity and duration. It's a beautiful, drought-tolerant perennial that attracts pollinators to your garden, so it serves multiple purposes. Next is the gentle but powerful chamomile. Everyone knows it for its calming properties. A cup of chamomile tea is fantastic for promoting sleep, easing anxiety, and settling an upset stomach. It's an easy-to-grow annual that reseeds itself readily. You just harvest the little daisy-like flowers and dry them out. It's a must-have for stressful times. Peppermint is one of the easiest and most useful herbs you can grow. Be careful though, plant it in a container or it will take over your garden. Its primary use is for digestive issues. A simple tea can soothe nausea, indigestion, and gas. The menthol in it also makes it great for clearing sinuses when inhaled as steam. This is calendula, or pot marigold. Think of it as the ultimate skin healer. The bright orange and yellow flowers are infused into oils and make salves or creams. It's fantastic for soothing rashes, insect bites, minor burns, and dry, chapped skin. It's an annual that's incredibly easy to grow from seed and will produce flowers all season long. Hey everyone, as we talk about emergency preparedness today, I want to focus on a critical part of any plan: how you're going to cook. When the grid goes down, your electric stove is useless. And let's be honest, in a high-stress situation, being able to provide a hot, high-quality meal for your family is more than just survival. It's a massive morale booster. And that's why I'm a huge fan of our sponsor today, Pit Boss Pellet Grills. A Pit Boss is the ultimate preparedness tool for food. It runs on all natural wood pellets, which are stable and easy to store in bulk. But here's the best part. It's not just a grill. It's an 8-in-1 cooking machine. You can smoke, bake, roast, braise, grill, and many more. You can literally bake bread or roast a full meal. That versatility is exactly what you need when your options are limited. Stop thinking about just storing food and start thinking about how you'll cook it. Get the power and flavor of real wood-fired cooking no matter the situation. Check out Pit Boss Grills using the official link below in the description to see which one is right for your preparedness plans. Now back to today's video. Garlic is more than just a kitchen staple. It is a powerhouse. It has potent antimicrobial, antiviral, and antibacterial properties. Consuming raw garlic can help fight off infections. A garlic-infused oil can be used for earaches. And of course, it's one of the easiest and most rewarding things to grow in your garden for food security. Cayenne pepper is a powerful circulatory stimulant. Taken internally, it can help warm the body. Used topically in a salve, the capsaicin in it can help alleviate nerve and muscle pain. A pinch of cayenne powder can even be used on a wound to help stop bleeding quickly. Grow any hot pepper variety and dry them to make your own powder. This next one is probably growing in your yard right now as a weed. This is plantain, and it's one of the best things for drawing out splinters, venom, and infection. Chew up a leaf to make a quick spit poultice and apply it to a bee sting or a mosquito bite for almost instant relief from the itching and pain. It's nature's drawing salve, and it's free. Elderberry has become famous for its antiviral properties, especially against the flu. The syrup made from the cooked berries can help shorten the duration of the flu and boost the immune system. You have to cook the berries, and they are toxic raw, so just be careful. You can grow this as a large shrub or a small tree. It's a long-term investment in your family's health, though. And finally, from the same plant, elderflower. The flowers of the elderberry bush are also medicinal. An elderflower tea is an excellent remedy for fever and sinus congestion. It has a wonderful, delicate flavor and can be dried and stored easily. So from one plant, you get two different powerful medicines. Yarrow, echinacea, chamomile, peppermint, calendula, garlic, cayenne, plantain, elderberry, and elderflower. With these 10 plants, you can create a home apothecary to handle a wide range of common ailments, from wounds and infections to colds and anxiety. This isn't about replacing modern medicine, which is a miracle. It's about being resilient when it's not available. It's about reconnecting with the land and the old ways of healing. Start small, pick one or two of these plants, grow them, and learn how to use them. Build your knowledge and your garden season by season. If this inspired you to start your own medicinal garden, please hit that button and subscribe for more self-reliant skills. And tell me in the comments, which of these plants do you already grow, or which one are you most excited to plant first? Let's build a community of knowledge. Stay safe and be well. Cool. Well, I hope you guys liked that. I had a lot of fun making it. I learned a lot actually in the research for that video. So I learned a whole lot, and I know we have some of those plants already, and my wife is like super awesome in growing them already, and so I was just learning as well. I did actually have one more thing I wanted to talk about because I just thought it was super interesting and fun. Nope, I don't want to do that. I want to open here. It's about President Trump and time travel. I know it's pretty crazy, right? So that's all I'll say. We'll watch this short, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about it after it's done here. Play.
I would watch for Barron because here's the thing. There's also another book called Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. Ingersoll Lockwood wrote this book too in the late 1800s, depicting this character.
When they picked those same names.
Yes.
Barron Trump.
Barron Trump. That is a book. Yes. Ingersoll Lockwood wrote both these books. Right?
In the 1800s.
Yes. I believe it was like 1893, 1896, something like
Crazy.
that.
Then there has to be time travelers.
Well, here's the thing. In the book, Barron Trump is a time traveler. No bullshit. All this is in the book, you guys. And guess what? So he time travels, right? He has a mentor named Don. This is in the book.
I know.
So here's the theory that Trump actually has some type of time travel technology only because Donald Trump's uncle, John G. Trump, worked for the FBI. Now, when Nikola Tesla died, they sent him in because he's a scientist, he's a physicist, engineer, smart guy. So they're like, hey, go in to Nikola Tesla's, room and decipher all his works and whatnot. Because, Nikola Tesla discovered free energy and a multitude of things, right? So Donald Trump's uncle goes in there and says, we didn't find anything. Bunch of BS. You don't think that Nikola Tesla, who had discovered free energy and manipulated electromagnetism, which had that you can, in theory, bend time, light, and space, this man's works was confiscated by him and he didn't find anything?
So I highly recommend this podcast, by the way, TFU podcast. But I'll let this run while we talk about it. So I know this one's a little out there. It's a little crazy. I get it, right? Time travel, president's son. I know I'm not super sold on it by any stretch of the imagination, but do I find it interesting? I do find it ironic? Yeah, it is. It's really strange. Now, I think the best explanation for all of this, to be completely honest, is and I haven't looked into it. I just saw this recently. Is the guy who wrote these books, right? Did he know a Trump at the time? And that's why he named it, right? And so it went, through there and cut, Trump, Barron Trump's. And then did President Trump and Melania, or I don't know who Barron's mom is. I think it's Melania, but did they know about this book when they named their sons, right? And so, because Donald Trump Jr. or Don and Barron, right? I think that's the best explanation possible, right? Because is it possible that there's time travelers? Sure. But I'm also a pretty science-based guy for the most part, and so is time travel theoretically possible? Yes. Does it happen? Probably not. So I did find this super, super interesting, though, and kind of an entertaining short. I will paste it in the comments for everybody if you guys are interested in watching it yourselves. But yeah, kind of interesting. That's all. That's all I had to say on that. But yeah, so that is all I had. Right? There's not a whole heck of a lot of stuff going on in the world outside of. Well, okay, so I won't say that. You got the shutdown and you got Venezuela, right? But you have the elections, which that we'll talk about in a couple days on another live stream, maybe Saturday if we have time. That's going to be my goal, but I don't know if we will or not. But I definitely want to talk about Mamdani, because that is a travesty of an election, and I think New Yorkers were severely misled about his viewpoints, and I think he is going to be the downfall of New York. Not that it already is a blank hole, but yeah, it's unfortunate. So we'll cover that. I'm going to do more research into him, because I really am not super smart on him outside of what I've seen, reported on him and what he believes and all that stuff. So we'll talk more about that in a few days after I do that. But if you guys have any questions, ever, and you guys are watching this a week later, 2 weeks later, 5 months later, whatever, please put them in the comments on your respective platform that you're watching this on. I'd be glad to answer any questions, talk about an article. If you guys have one that a topic that you're interested in, that you think people would like to hear about, please put it in the comments. I'd love to cover it, do some research on it, and talk about it on the next stream, because I'm all about spreading the word about news and things that are going on in this world that people just aren't aware of, unfortunately, because a lot of it gets missed, and a lot of the details and the things that really are interesting get missed in the shuffle of everyday life. So anywho, that is really all I had for today. So I am super thankful for you guys, super thankful for you guys joining us. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, and we will catch you on the next live stream. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube for the video that comes out on Sunday. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you soon.